Yeah, well, thank you, Natalie and Clayton. I would have to say all roads lead to China. The dynamic has changed. Pakistan, once in many ways a trusted ally, um, really, and for a variety of reasons, fell out of favor, especially with the Obama Biden team, and has really, in many ways, a lot of people don't realize it is essentially a China client. It is essentially a proxy. I'm not sure if I'd put it in the same category as Iran, North Korea, Russia, Venezuela, South Africa, but it's pretty close. And so I would say this is in many ways China stoking the tensions. Why? Because of tariffs. Because I just heard today that there's been a call at a major university in Beijing for the removal of President Xi of China. You don't do that and last very long in China. So Xi is under immense pressure at home. He cannot appear in any way to look weak. So this is a proxy. In many ways, China would rather stoke a nuclear exchange than see Xi and the Chinese Communist Party fall. So I think there is definitely a connection. And there's been long running bad blood, obviously, between Pakistan and India. But why all of a sudden? I think you have to look to Pakistan, to China, essentially telling Pakistan to ratchet it up. And so I think that's the short story on why suddenly this is an issue.
So each side pointing fingers for the terrorist attack, of course, last week, Pakistan saying we had nothing to do with it. India saying clearly you did. So who do you think is behind that?
Well, that's a great question on the terrorist attack. This is just like a lot of people forget in early 2000 and was it early 2002 when we were chasing bin Laden into Pakistan. What happened? All of a sudden, there was a Kashmir flare up. Why? Because Islamic extremists related to Al Qaeda said, okay, hey, you need to distract the Americans, create a conflict. Also, a lot of people don't remember or didn't realize Pakistan went to essentially nuclear launch alert condition. Why? Because extremists in the Pakistan government essentially were stoked by Islamic extremists to ratchet up the pressure. We can't go into a whole lot of detail, but we had to essentially use special units to make the Pakistani nuclear force stand down. It was scary. It was very close to a nuclear exchange back then. And it wasn't just the bad blood between Pakistan and India. It was Islamic extremists. And the challenge with Pakistan is it's really been co-opted in so many ways by the extremist elements of Islamic. But now, right. I mean, I'm not sure it was always the right way to handle it, but we were very rough on Pakistan for a bunch of reasons. Pakistan, they share a border with China. Why are they going to fool around with us if we're gonna hold off delivering F-16s for decades? They're just going to go. Well, we might as well just deal with China. Also, part of the equation is there's a very important pipeline being built from Iran across Afghanistan,
talk to you,
and up through Pakistan, up into China. That's their way to get oil. So that's also another strategic connection.
Well, I think maybe you touched on something that we've always sort of had a rough hand when it comes to dealing with Pakistan because of the possibility of extremists. But how does that have a possibility of bleeding into our own interests? I think many people don't remember that it was only on Obama's third day that he killed 20 civilians with an attack in Pakistan. So why have we played it that way? Can you maybe bring it back even further?
Well, look, I know a bit about the Pakistanis. We asked for their help for U-2 overflights of the Soviet Union back in the 50s. That's where they were a very close transitioning colony away from the Brits, but they wanted to stay closely aligned with us. They were anti-communist. But the U-2 program was a big deal. To be frank, Pakistan made a lot of money off of it, and then we left. Okay, the Russians invade Afghanistan in the 1979. 20 years later. We almost immediately go to Pakistan, say we need your help, and they said sure. They made a lot of money off of it. And then once the Soviets were defeated about 91, we left. So, and then the war on terror started. And then, so the Pakistanis learned to really milk the situation, like with bin Laden. They were very good at looking for bin Laden. They were not good about finding bin Laden, two totally separate things. Why? I'll just be honest. They knew as soon as they found bin Laden, the American money flow would stop. So they spent a lot of time looking for bin Laden, not finding bin Laden.
The bin Laden industrial complex, you would say.
Well, it was. Hey, and I look at Pakistan is a poor country. They have a lot of very angry. You call it in Arab countries, you call it the angry Arab street. In Pakistan, you have it's the angry Pakistani street. It's a rough place, high murder rate, very bad, and then the generals in many ways have just had to keep their boot on the neck of everybody because they'd kill everybody. Everybody would kill everybody. It'd be horrible. But again, the comings and goings of America that would throw money around and then leave, they kind of got tired of that. And in some ways, I don't blame them on that, But when they're trying to feed their people, maybe put some money in their own pockets. But it's a rough country, and so we cut them off essentially. With we didn't like Reagan didn't like several of the leaders. One of their leaders had a mysterious plane crash. Don't know what happened there, but we've been holding on to F-16s, for a bazillion years, and I think they just finally got the message and started working with China.
So the bottom line here, Colonel, is that China is using Pakistan as a proxy to agitate, foment a war in order to distract the United States. President Trump has said, we're not going to get involved. So did it work?
Well, I think even with President Trump, American policy is clear. We don't want to see a nuclear war between anybody. Okay. I think that's, and so saying we're not going to get involved is not the same as saying we don't care if there's a nuclear war. Right. No, I think President Trump would say we don't want to see a nuclear war. But is China now? It's a very different situation than the past. But is now China pulling the tail of Pakistan to get them to launch a nuke to keep? Again, it's a very all this ruckus over tariffs. People don't realize this is life or death. People are going, oh, it's having no effect in China. Oh, Trump doesn't know what he's doing. No, Trump and Navarro and Bessent and everybody knows exactly what they're doing. And China has set up their whole model off a dependency of cheap imports into America, which sector by sector deforest our industrial base, transfer jobs to China. They fill us with fentanyl, but they need that cash flow from America. And these tariffs are ferociously effective. Don't believe any of this fake news stuff. And it is extremely precarious. Their economy is still based off of a dependency off of exports to the U.S. They can't survive without it. That gets cut off. She has a lot of unemployed, hungry people on the streets. Never a good situation for a dictator.
I've seen quite a few of layoffs are happening across China, factories closing down. This is having broad impact, but the mainstream media won't report this. And of course, the China pro media, liberal media won't report what's actually happening in China. They just want to say Trump bad, tariffs bad. Right. Colonel Mills, I would love to do a more deep dive conversation on this. This is absolutely fascinating. And frankly, not an angle that I had heard at all on this. So thank you.
Or thought of myself. Yeah. Thank you for this excellent context.
Oh, you bet. Thank you. It's an honor to be on your show. But yeah, it's definitely China is this all roads lead to China in the world on fire.
Fascinating.
You know,
Colonel Mills, thank you so much.